Pretty Kitty. This is my vlog where I talk about all the things I love about sewing. Welcome back to my regular subscribers and hello to anybody that's new. I hope you decide to stick around and press the subscribe button and give me a little like. That would be awesome. So today's video has been a long time coming. A little while ago, probably a couple of months actually, I asked myself the question if it was possible to make an entirely handmade garment. So you guys know I absolutely love sewing, but I'm also into other crafts too. And I was thinking to myself, can you make buttons? How often do you sew something and you can't quite find the perfect button to go with it? Which led me down a rabbit hole, let me tell you. I went onto Pinterest and suddenly a whole world of button related fun opened up for me, because you can make your own buttons and you can make them out of polymer clay. So this idea started in my head and I was trying to think to myself what to make. Did I want to make a shirt? Did I want to make a coat? I decided actually that I was going to have a go at the Skye wrap from Cool Crafting. So if you've watched this vlog for a while, you might remember that I made my mum a Skye wrap probably last year, I think it was, last September, out of some gorgeous navy blue. In fact, I'll put a picture in if I can find one of that wrap. So this make today is inspired by the Skye wrap, though I didn't use their measurements. I kind of sort of winged it, if I'm honest. I wrapped it around me and measured and came up with my own pattern for it, but it is based or inspired by the Skye wrap by Cool Crafting. So buttons. The Skye wrap has 3 enormous buttons on it, and previously I bought their beautiful coconut shell ones. I just thought to myself, wouldn't it be really awesome if I could make some buttons the way I want it to go with this Skye wrap? So that's what I did, guys. I went away, I found myself a few bits and pieces of tools and stuff, and have spent a lot of time researching and finding out the best way to go ahead and get these buttons done. So I hope you enjoy the video. So firstly, let's go through the process of creating the wrap itself. It was actually made using a piece of fleecy, it was an IKEA blanket, to be fair. I found it in our cupboard and thought, this is just perfect. It's the right colour. Why go out and purchase more fabric when there's fabric here that I can use? So I used an IKEA blanket for the outer, and for the lining I used a piece of fabric that I bought from Minerva, I think it was, some time ago. I did an unboxing video and I was completely flummoxed as to why I'd ordered this pale grey coloured cotton. No idea what I was thinking at the time, whether it was a mistake to have put it in my basket or not, but it arrived and I thought, oh well, you know, grey cotton's going to come in handy at some point, and it did. I totally remembered that I had that grey cotton and thought, excellent, dark grey outer, pale grey lining, and then some buttons. So let's start with a video of the process of putting the wrap together. Cut the outer fabric 27.5 inches by 50 inches. Then cut the lining fabric 27.5 inches by 47 inches. Find the middle and pin, and then sew the lining to the outer at both ends. Once you've folded the excess, then you need to sew right the way along the top and bottom, leaving a gap in one side in order to turn it through. So once you've sewn the outer and the lining together, the last thing to do is to overlap the 2 top edges. So let me show you the actual garment here. So when you finish, it's just a big square, and what you need to do is you need to overlap the 2 pieces of fabric at the top. And now you will get to see my buttons. So I have made grey leopard print buttons to go on this wrap, and I'm so pleased with myself. I love it. I've worn it a couple of times, I've had compliments. Yeah, super pleased with this make. So you literally just overlap. I popped it over my head just to see how big a neck hole I needed, and then I think it was probably about 5 centimetres that I overlapped it by. There's no tricky buttonholes, you know, the buttons are massive. I just sewed them straight through both layers of fabric because this goes on and off over your head. You don't really need buttonholes. So let's start talking about the buttons. I will of course put a twirl in at the end of me wearing it, but I have recorded some footage on my phone of the mannequin with the wrap on, so I'll insert that here. So, how do you make a button? I guess that's what you're asking me right now. How do you make a button? Well, I wasn't sure to begin with, so I started having a look on Pinterest and YouTube, and I came across quite a few tutorials for making polymer clay buttons. And you guys who watch regularly will know that I have an affiliate link with Arteza, and Arteza do polymer clay. So I was like, oh, perfect, I'll have a go and see what I can do. So what I've done is I've recorded a series of videos talking about the process of making the buttons and unboxing the clay. And what we'll do is have a little watch of those, and then I'll come back at the end and tell you about what I thought. So this is the polymer clay, and you can see, look how many different colours there are in there. I am overly excited about the fact that there are 42 different colours in this box of clay. I've not really got much experience of working with polymer clay, so it's going to be interesting to see how these buttons turn out. But I was very pleased to receive this box of clay. So let's just have a look inside and see what it looks like. So, wowzers. Comes with some tools. Just a basic set of different shaped tools. And also a small packet of findings, so you can make key charms, and there's some beads in there. Also, I have to be honest, when I saw the picture of this on the website, I thought this box was a lot bigger. So each one of these is 28 grams, this polymer clay. And each colour has a code. So they're quite a lot smaller than your normal brands that you might be used to. I know my children work with Fimo quite a lot, but these are quite a lot smaller. But then you have got a huge amount of different colours here. Bubble bath pink, sort of a bronze colour, so literally every colour of the spectrum. This is making me excited to get started on my buttons. Like I said, I am not an expert in polymer clay at all. In fact, I've watched quite a lot of YouTube tutorials to see if I could figure out how the best way to go ahead and make these buttons, but we're just going to have to see how they turn out. So that's what they look like when they come. And the instructions for baking are all written on the box here. So it tells you to make sure your hands and work area are clean before you start, that you knead the clay until the texture is soft and smooth, and I've figured out from watching other people's videos that that's actually called conditioning the clay. Then shape the clay and bake in an oven on a safe glass or metal surface at 163 degrees centigrade or 325 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 to 30 minutes. And do not overbake. So this is my polymer clay box, and I bought this box from IKEA. As soon as I saw it, I thought this will be perfect. It's got the right size compartments for all of my bits and pieces. So yeah, £4 I think this was from IKEA. Excellent little box, and I used my Cricut machine to personalise it. So with the Arteza clay, you will need a few little bits and pieces. So first is cutters. If you want to make buttons, you obviously need a really perfectly round cutter. I've got a few different shapes and sizes. Also, it's really handy to have one of these flat knives and an acrylic rolling pin so that nothing sticks to anything. The cocktail sticks are perfectly shaped to make buttons, holes, and if you want a beveled edge on your button, then a piece of plastic will really help create that look. You might notice I'm actually working on a glass chopping board as well, because that also helps for your projects not to stick too much to anything. So the clay comes already pre-marked. As you can see here, I'm just taking off one little piece of the clay. This is helpful if you're wanting to make uniform shapes and sizes, so you have exactly the same amount of clay. And the first thing you need to do is condition the clay by moving it through your fingers, warming it up, making it soft. And once this process is finished after a few minutes and it feels nice and pliable and soft, you can then roll the clay into a ball and place it on your board to roll it out. So I found getting it the right thickness quite tricky, and it takes a bit of practice, hence why I've bought myself a pasta machine which will roll out the clay and condition it actually really nicely, but the rolling pin is great to start with. So for a beveled edge button, you need to place the cling film on the top of the clay and then pop your cutter on top, then press down firmly, and it sort of sucks the plastic into it. And then when you remove the cutter, you can peel the plastic away and it will leave your button with a really nice beveled edge. Then you can go ahead and use the knife to sort of remove the excess and just gently take it from the board without distorting the shape too much. That's kind of the trickiest bit. So then I normally just go round the edges, make sure it's a nice shape, and then use the cocktail stick to gently put a couple of holes in the top. I'm just doing this by eye, but you could make a template with paper if you wanted to. And then it's a case of wiggling it through and then picking the button up gently. I normally like to pop it across my fingers so that then I can pop the cocktail stick and sort of use a twisting motion to get it a really nice buttonhole. And that's it really. Sometimes I do turn the button upside down and put the cocktail stick in from behind. So in this section I'm just going to make a straightforward button without a beveled edge. Again, rolling the clay out to whatever thickness I want, and then using a smaller cutter just going to go straight ahead and cut out. So if you wanted to make a decorated button, you would want to make a slab, and a slab is like a piece of rolled out clay that you then decorate. You can use all sorts of shapes and cutters and tools to put different marks on there, and then you go ahead and cut your buttons out of that. So these obviously are very plain buttons, but if you wanted something really pretty and covered in flowers or multicoloured, you would at the point of rolling out, that's when you would start to decorate that piece of clay. So there we are. It's like Play-Doh for grown-ups, and I can tell you now that I am utterly obsessed with making buttons. I've made hundreds of buttons. Never again will I make a garment and think, oh, I can't find a button to match, because you can mix the clay together, you can make new colours, you can do whatever pattern you like, you can make them any size you want, and you might be wondering, actually, do they hold up to sort of like, you know, daily wear and washing and all that kind of stuff. So that was something I was curious about too. The last thing I want to do is spend my time making things that then fall apart when you use them and wash them. And I can tell you, because I've researched this thoroughly, that these buttons will go through the washing machine numerous times. I mean, these must have gone through 10 times already. So all I did was sew them to a piece of calico and stick them in the washing machine over and over again with all my washing, and they've held up really nicely. One of them I varnished with Mod Podge gloss, this one, and the one at the bottom I varnished with Fimo varnish, and I have to say they've held up really well. They're still shiny. The Mod Podges probably come off more than the Fimo varnish, so I've elected in the future, if I make any more buttons, to just use the Fimo varnish, because I think that holds up better in the washing machine. I didn't put these through the tumble dryer. I tend not to tumble dry handmade clothes anyway, just in case. There's nothing worse than going through the whole process of sewing something and then having it shrink on you. Yeah, if you're interested in whether or not they go through the tumble dryer, I could stick them through a couple of times and find out, let you know in the next video. Yeah, obsession. I've started a new obsession, even so much so that I have made so many buttons that I think I might be able to sell some. So I made myself some little button cards with my Cricut Maker, and I'll show you some of the buttons now. So these are some little purple ones that I made. In the video I explained to you about making a slab. A slab is a piece of clay that you then decorate and cut the buttons out of. So this is how all of these buttons were made. But I've got some rainbow buttons. These ones, which are really gorgeous, I think, with the colours. And these ones. So that's made using a flower cane. There's a whole rabbit hole to fall down. If you are interested in polymer clay, there are tons and tons and tons of tutorials on YouTube that explain to you how to do all sorts of different things, like making ombre effects and flower canes and all of this kind of thing. So I won't go too much into detail with it here now. All I will say is that the Arteza clay is quite soft, so it's good for beginner. If you've never used clay before, it's quite good because it doesn't take a lot of conditioning. But that does have its downside. If you're trying to do something really complicated like a flower cane, it can be quite tricky. There are lots of polymer clays out there, but something like Fimo, for example, is quite a lot harder and takes more conditioning. So if you become really adept at it, you might want to branch out into different types of clay. But for what I needed, the Arteza clay was absolutely fabulous. And I am looking forward to popping a few of these on a little pop-up shop at some point. So you might be able to get yourself a little So Pretty Kitty button pack. So what do you think? Do you want to have a go at making your own buttons? If you do, I have got a special discount code for you from Arteza, which I'll pop on the screen and in the drop-down box below. As I said before, this clay was gifted to me, but having not used clay before, I can tell you it was a super, super treat. I've so much enjoyed making those buttons, and I just wanted to share the love with you guys. So that's it for today's video. If you liked the video, please do give me a thumbs up and press the subscribe button, and I will be back very soon with some more sewing related goodies. Thanks then, bye!